Welcome back. Now that we've covered what diesel particulate matter, or DPM, is and why it's dangerous, let's look at how to control exposure, what the law requires, and how DPM is monitored in the workplace. Before we talk about control measures, it's important to understand the legal framework. Until recently, Australia had no national workplace exposure standard for DPM. Most workplaces relied on the AIOH position paper, which recommended 0.1 milligrams per cubic metre of elemental carbon as a guidance value. This threshold became the benchmark widely adopted across the industry in Australia. From December 2026, a formal workplace exposure limit, or WELL, will finally apply nationwide. 0.01 milligrams per cubic metre of elemental carbon across an 8-hour period. This is a 10-fold reduction compared to the previous guideline and reflects the growing recognition of DPM's health risks. Now that you know the exposure limit, how do we go about achieving that? Managing DPM starts with the hierarchy of controls, a framework which tackles hazards at their source first rather than just protecting the worker with PPE. The most effective control is elimination. This means removing diesel engines entirely where possible. For example, switching to electric or battery-powered tools and vehicles. Where elimination isn't practicable, the next option is substitution. This means replacing older, high-emission engines with low-emission models or using cleaner fuels such as biodiesel or low-sulfur diesel. Isolation means separating workers from diesel exhaust. On site, this could be keeping diesel equipment away from where people are working or restricting access to zones where exhaust is concentrated, like basements or tunnels. Engineering controls modify the environment or equipment to reduce exposure. Examples include exhaust extraction systems, fixed or portable ventilation in enclosed spaces, and regular engine maintenance to minimise emissions. If risks remain, workplaces must introduce administrative controls. This includes rotating tasks so no one is potentially exposed for too long, scheduling heavy diesel work when fewer people are around, and training all workers in safe practices. Personal protective equipment, PPE, is the last line of defence. Respirators should never be the only measure used, but they are important when higher level controls can't fully remove the risk. For DPM, this usually means fit-tested P2 or P3 respirators used in combination with other controls. Employers have a duty under the workplace health and safety laws to protect workers from hazards, including DPM. It requires a systematic approach that starts with assessing risk, followed by implementation of controls, and finally, confirming through monitoring that these controls are effective. If there is any likelihood of exposure to DPM, or if there is any uncertainty about whether controls are keeping exposure below acceptable levels, air monitoring should be carried out. This involves personal sampling pumps worn in the breathing zone of workers and static monitors placed in high-risk areas where diesel engines are operating. When monitoring, employers have an ongoing obligation to keep monitoring records long-term and make them available to workers upon request, to review results regularly to check if exposure levels are approaching the limit value, and to strengthen the controls immediately if monitoring shows levels close to or above the limit value, and then to retest after controls are adjusted. This duty reflects the principle that protecting workers from DPM is not a one-off task, but a continuous legal obligation. Employers must be proactive, transparent, and accountable in managing exposure. Controls and monitoring are only effective if everyone plays their part. Workers have a critical role in reducing exposure by following safe practices when on site. This includes wearing and correctly fitting PPE when required, reporting faulty equipment or poor ventilation as soon as it is identified, following site rules for engine idling and confined space work, and cooperating with monitoring, such as wearing personal sampling pumps when requested. By following these practices, workers play an essential role in managing exposure and supporting a safer, healthier workplace for everyone. DPM exposure can be managed with the right mix of controls, monitoring, and compliance. Employers are legally required to act where risks are present, and workers play a key role by following site safe work practices. In the next video, we'll explore what future legislation may bring, who to contact if you're concerned about DPM, and how you can help advocate for a safer workplace.